Breaking tonight, Donald Trump puts the world's richest man in government. Elon Musk tapped to lead a new department, and Donald Trump picks a Fox News host as his defense secretary. A Radio Canada investigation finds a pervasive culture of spying at Canada Soccer that goes back years.
No was not an option for the people handling the drone.
Insiders speak out as the official report leaves more questions than answers. And tributes pour in for former BC Premier John Horgan.
He was accessible, he was fun and funny.
The memories that go well beyond politics.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news out of the U.S. tonight. Donald Trump making a late announcement about key roles in his administration. His picks, non-traditional and likely controversial. Among them, Elon Musk. The fulfillment of a promise Trump made very publicly during the campaign. Musk is now tasked with making big cuts inside the U.S. government. Katie Simpson is in Washington for us tonight. And Katie, Elon Musk is already promising his work will affect a lot of people.
Yeah, the world's richest man will head the Department of Government Efficiency. It's new, and its mandate will be slashing government regulations and spending. Think about how Musk gutted Twitter after he bought it. He'll work with entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, a Trump ally who also ran to be the Republican nominee. Ramaswamy posting on social media, "Shut it down." These are two men who've not worked in government before, being asked to identify waste and make cuts and send shockwaves through the system. And it comes as Trump makes a flurry of insider picks. Florida Senator Marco Rubio hit the campaign trail with Donald Trump. His loyalty rewarded as he's expected to be Trump's pick for Secretary of State.
We are going to make America not just great, but greater than it has ever been before. Thanks.
They've overcome a rocky relationship, starting with the 2016 Republican presidential primary.
Little Marco Rubio, he's a total disaster.
But old wounds have long healed, and Rubio has extensive experience on the Foreign Relations Committee.
He's also been very, very strong identifying and speaking to the threat that China poses.
In all of America's
Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee is Trump's pick for ambassador to Israel. He's long pushed for deeper ties, sometimes at odds with official U.S. policy.
There is no such thing as a West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation.
Trump's choices are sending specific signals about the priorities of his administration, and some leaders in Canada are taking note. To ensure the trading relationship remains stable, there's a suggestion Canada take a harder line on China.
But I'm not going to be drawn down with these cheap imports taking men and women's jobs from hardworking Ontarians.
Ontario's premier suggesting Mexico be kicked out of the new North American Free Trade Agreement as punishment for accepting cheap Chinese imports. The Prime Minister acknowledging it's a problem.
Just about all of our partner democracies around the world have expressed varying degrees of concern.
The Prime Minister didn't reject Ontario's idea, but removing Mexico would upend supply chains, even if Trump may like the idea.
So, Katie, another add to Trump's team, this time his pick for Secretary of Defense. It's another outsider.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth. He's best known as a Fox News weekend anchor, an Army veteran who served multiple tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's not served in a large leadership role before, but given Canada's reliance on the U.S. for national defense, this pick is of interest to Ottawa.
Absolutely. Katie Simpson in Washington tonight. Now, Canada Soccer's report into the Olympic drone spying scandal is now done, and Bev Priestman is now officially out as head coach. But a Radio Canada investigation suggests the practice of spying on opponents existed well before Priestman took the helm. Sarah Levitt was in Paris when the scandal first broke, and tonight she lays out what we've learned.
Canada came! Canada conquered!
She helped bring Canada women's soccer team to gold in Tokyo. But now Bev Priestman is out for good as head coach. All part of the drone scandal that rocked the 2024 Paris Olympics, Team Canada spying on opponents, and it wasn't a first.
It's shameful. It's embarrassing.
An external investigation ordered by Canada Soccer reveals drones were also used during different tournaments between 2022 and 2024, part of a, quote, symptom of a difficult and unacceptable past culture within the national teams.
They would be stupid enough to bring a drone to France there was a no-fly zone, there's fear of terrorist attacks. I wouldn't fly a kite during that time.
Canada Soccer's investigation is scant on details. The 400-page report wasn't made public, just a 36-point summary with names and other details redacted. But Radio-Canada has found the spying was pervasive under former Team Canada head coach John Horgan, now head coach of Toronto FC. Investigative show Enquête spoke with a former staffer on the condition their voice and identity be masked over fears of professional blowback.
No was not an option for the people handling the drone. If they didn't, they were practically pushed aside. Herdman put a lot of pressure on his staff.
Herdman wasn't interviewed for the Canada Soccer investigation and didn't respond to requests for comment, but he said this in July.
I'm highly confident that in my time as a head coach at an Olympic Games or World Cup, we've never been involved in any of those activities.
There's a crossroads here for Soccer Canada, and I really hope they commit to what they've said they're going to do is change.
Part of that change, Canada Soccer says, is mandatory ethics training.
So, Sarah, the investigation may be complete. Clearly, the scandal is not over. What's your sense of what we can expect to come?
Well, FIFA has its own ongoing investigation, and as soccer's world governing body, it can hand out punishments, but it can also revoke wins, including that gold medal won by the women in Tokyo. Now, we're not there yet, but it is a possibility. As for Herdman, Canada Soccer says it's reviewing the evidence to see if disciplinary action is necessary.
All right, definitely not over yet. Sarah Levitt in Montreal, thank you. Canada Post and its workers are trading threats tonight, both putting themselves in a position to begin a work stoppage in just 3 days. Nisha Patel now on why the sides are so far apart and how their dispute could affect you.
It's the busiest time of year for Canada Post leading up to the holidays, but deliveries could soon come to a halt.
We're fighting, for fair wages. We're also fighting for improved health and safety. We're fighting to retire with dignity.
After a year of negotiations, the two sides are still far apart. The union will be in a position to strike on Friday. Canada Post could also lock workers out.
Obviously, we'd prefer to get an agreement in the next 72 hours and put this behind us and try to build back our holiday volumes.
Canada Post has offered an 11.5% pay bump over 4 years. The union is pushing for 23%. Canada Post has also proposed expanding delivery to weekends, which the union has resisted. For now, the federal government won't step in.
We will make every effort possible to keep them at the table and keep them talking, and we hope to achieve a negotiated settlement there.
Canada Post says a strike would further strain its finances. The Crown Corporation has lost $3 billion since 2018. For small business owners like Don McCowan, the timing of it all couldn't be worse.
It is drastic. Well, 45% of our business goes out through Canada Post. So if all of a sudden we can't ship that 45%, you can't meet your overhead.
He says half of his revenues could disappear.
We have no backup for the simple reason that backup is very expensive. The courier companies charge a lot more.
As competition from private companies grows, one thing is becoming clear. Canada Post needs to shift its business to stay relevant.
I don't get a lot of stuff from the post office. Mostly I get flyers.
Me personally, I gotta be honest, I probably don't use the mail as much. Probably not at least Canada Post, mainly Amazon.
While this work stoppage could begin Friday, both sides say they're still at the bargaining table and they're trying to avoid one. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
The government has ordered an end to lockouts at ports in BC and Quebec, sending all parties into binding arbitration.
When Canada's economy, Canadians' health is threatened, any responsible government has to step in.
The Labour minister says negotiations were still too far apart, threatening companies that rely on the ports and Canada's reputation as a reliable trade partner. BC workers have been locked out for over a week. The Port of Montreal lockout began Sunday night. The Labour minister says both ports should be up and running again within a few days. Well, British Columbians are remembering former Premier John Horgan tonight. Horgan died today after his third battle with cancer. As Lindsay Duncombe shows us, Horgan's authenticity left its mark on the province and its politics.
Thank you very much.
With John Horgan, what you saw is what you got.
I think for many British Columbians, he made them think differently about politics and about politicians. He was accessible, he was fun and funny. And
Raised by a single mom, Horgan worked in a pulp mill and as a waiter before politics. His charm and pragmatism attracted a diverse coalition of voters to the NDP.
He really valued people and he really understood his constituency and understood where he came from. And so I think it was easy to like John Horgan.
Horgan took power in 2017, ending a 16-year run by the BC Liberals.
With that, I want to thank Andrew and the Green Caucus for the work that you've done. Real pleasure. To make this place work.
Bringing the Green Party on side in a minority government, ousting former Premier Christy Clark.
He and I disagreed on tons of things, but he was a really dedicated public servant.
Horgan resisted pressure from the left to stop infrastructure projects, including this hydro dam and natural gas expansion. He signed the BC Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples.
He was a person, a genuine person, really cared deeply about working with Indigenous communities.
After leading the province through the pandemic, Horgan called a snap election and won a majority. Then he got sick again. His second bout of cancer led to his decision to leave.
This has been the thrill of my life to be the Premier of British Columbia.
Horgan was appointed to be the ambassador to Germany late last year. But just a few months later, a third cancer diagnosis forced him to take leave. He died in hospital in Victoria, leaving behind his wife and 2 sons. His family said he was surrounded by family, friends, and love.
Do you want to hear it, man? Do you want to hear it or do you just want to hear your voice?
What was rare about Horgan, especially in politics, especially now, he was unfiltered. And that authenticity will be missed. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
The BC teenager battling what's believed to be the first human case of avian flu acquired in Canada is in critical condition at the BC Children's Hospital. Public health workers are still trying to track down how the teen was infected.
I must caution that there is a very real possibility we may not ever determine a source. But at this point, we have a number of leads that we're following.
Health officials say the teen was not in school during the infectious period and that no one else has tested positive yet. The teenager also has no known exposure to infected poultry farms or wild birds where the virus is circulating. Well, the community of a 16-year-old girl allegedly brutally attacked by her former boyfriend rallied around her today as the accused made a bail appearance in Northern Ontario. The teen's family say she wants her story to be known. Katie Nicholson now with how her mother says that awful day unfolded.
No bail, common sense. No bail, common sense.
Anger spilled over the steps of a Northern Ontario courthouse.
If he gets out on bail, the young girls of this town are not going to feel safe.
Protesters clutch signs of support for 16-year-old Kaylee Smith.
Kaylee is the sweetest hearted, she's the nicest girl I've ever met. She's literally Snow White in real life.
Kaylee loves animals, especially her dog, Jupiter. All she wanted to do on the evening of November 3rd was take him for a walk. But police say her ex had other plans. Kaylee Smith had just gotten off a bus from work when police say Philip Gagnon hit her with a car and then stepped outside and attacked her with a sword near that intersection.
I come up over the hill and I see cop cars and everything's blocked off. I see the town bus that she gets off.
Cindy Smith knew instantly her daughter was in trouble. One of her hands was severed, the other badly mangled. She had deep cuts on her upper back, shoulders, and skull.
I was holding onto the blanket while the doctors were wrapping up her hands and her head. There's so much blood.
Kaylee was airlifted to Ottawa for multiple surgeries. It will take months, maybe years, to recover.
She loves drawing. She may never be able to do that again. I just thank God that she's alive. And I sure hope there's justice for this. Nobody deserves to go through this.
Kaylee had just broken up with Gagnon before the attack. He has a history of violence and was on probation after assaulting Kaylee's stepdad. He wasn't allowed to have access to any weapons.
I do not want to see his face on these streets ever again.
Gagnon's next court date is in late November, when these protesters vow to return and demand he stay behind bars until trial. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Timiskaming Shores, Ontario.
Now, these are some places to find help if you or someone you know is dealing with intimate partner violence. They list shelters and support lines by province, and of course, for immediate danger, always call 911. Well, Toronto police say they have arrested 23 people after a large shootout downtown last night. So this video capturing some of the gun battle from the high-rise across the street. Close to 100 shots were fired. Luckily, no one was injured. Police say a stolen vehicle pulled up to a recording studio and opened fire on the people gathered outside, and then the group fired back. Police say it is remarkable no bystanders were struck. Well, one of the world's most prominent religious leaders stepped down today. The Archbishop of Canterbury, leader of the Anglican Church, faced mounting pressure after a damning report found he failed to properly investigate a prolific child abuser. Chris Brown brings us the reaction.
Justin Welby crowned a new king, and as Archbishop of Canterbury, he presided over the immense influence of the Church of England in British life as well as Anglicans in Canada.
I'm John Smythe.
But it was his failure to repeatedly stop John Smythe that forced his resignation. Smythe ran church camps in the UK and Africa, and over 5 decades he committed heinous physical and sexual abuse against more than 120 boys and young men.
Basically caned me so many times that I thought I was going to die.
A report released last week concluded it was at least partly Welby's fault Smythe wasn't stopped, that when he became Archbishop in 2013, there was enough evidence to take to police, but he did not.
I did not ensure that this was pursued as energetically, as remorselessly as it should have been.
Welby attempted damage control with an apology, but the pressure to quit grew.
It's very hard for the church, as the nationally established church, to continue to have a moral voice in any way, shape or form in our nation when we cannot get our own house in order.
In 2022, Welby was in Canada to deliver an earlier apology for what he called the terrible crime of church-run residential schools.
Well, forgive me.
But this church critic says apologies without change are meaningless.
It's been sheer hypocrisy over the last few years. And I hope now somebody will sit back and look at this and say that we need to start afresh with how we deal with protecting the vulnerable in our church.
John Smythe died in 2018 without ever being brought to justice. In a statement on his resignation, Justin Welby said he felt shame at failing to safeguard the vulnerable. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
As climate talks get underway at COP29, a stinging defeat today for climate activists.
I was just really disappointed. Like, I was almost crying.
The legal setback in the case against an oil and gas giant. Next. Plus, Toronto gets set for pandemonium.
This is what I've been waiting for all year.
How Taylor Swift's presence is already being felt. And later, a group of hikers and a stranded baby goat.
You want to go this way, goat?
The daring cliffside rescue. We're back in 2. An American Airlines plane is the latest, it seems, to be struck by a bullet on a flight from Haiti. The damage discovered in Miami after returning from Port-au-Prince yesterday. JetBlue and Spirit Airlines, seen here in this unverified video, says its planes were shot at too. The FAA has grounded all U.S. flights to Haiti for a month. Well, at the start of the Global Climate Summit in Azerbaijan today, an urgent warning. But as international climate correspondent Susan Ormiston tells us, a major legal ruling thousands of kilometers away is being seen as a blow to climate action.
In Baku, Azerbaijan, oil-proud, world leaders gathered to pay homage to the climate. But the picture is not pretty.
The sound you hear is the ticking clock. We are in the final countdown to limit global temperature rise.
A somber start for COP29, in the shadow of Donald Trump's expected retreat from climate action, and on a day when activists lost a landmark challenge in the Netherlands.
To be honest, I was just really disappointed. Like, I was almost crying.
In a court in The Hague, Shell won an appeal against a ruling in 2021.
Het eindoordeel van het Hof is dat de
Which
vorderingen
would have
van
forced the oil and gas giant to reduce its carbon emissions by nearly half by 2030. Shell does have an obligation to reduce emissions, the court ruled, but responsibility lies more with governments to protect citizens.
Obviously, we're not done with Shell. We're still going to campaign. We're still going to fight.
Back at COP, a sculpture draws attention to the warming Caspian Sea as delegates try to hammer out a fund to finance the mounting costs of climate change. Canada announced $160 million to help drive $2 billion worth of investments to developing countries.
We've heard the calls.
Minister Stephen Guilbeault says the Liberal government intends to resist the U.S. path on climate under Trump.
The more we wait, in fact, the more Canadians and people around the world will bear the brunt of climate impacts. Climate impacts won't wait.
But the minister has to have one eye on next year with an election looming here in Canada. Guilbeault returns to Ottawa later this week, leaving his negotiating team in Baku to try to find collaboration at this so-called finance COP. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, with only a day to go before the Swifties invade, the excitement and the dollars are already flowing in downtown Toronto.
How much do you both spend?
$500. I spent almost $600.
The big boost to the city's economy next. Plus, a Canadian border officer fearing for his life and the safety of his family.
I've protected our country for 20 years, and I need our country to protect me.
The threats of violence and the false accusations linking him to terrorism. And inside the illegal drug lab, police are calling the most sophisticated in Canadian history.
Like something out of Breaking Bad. It's just incredible. It's overwhelming.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. Well, Toronto is entering its Swiftie era. The pop megastars tour arrives for a 6-show run later this week. And as Thomas Daigle explains, fans with cash in hand are expected to give the city an economic boost.
With fans lining up for concert merchandise 2 days before the first show.
But we got it! Yeah!
Taylor Swift is already taking over Toronto.
How much do you both spend?
$500. I spent almost $600.
It's me. Hi. I'm the problem, it's me.
As the world's biggest pop star lands for 6 shows on her history-making Eras tour, Canadian fans are ready to splurge.
Oh, it's going to be really exciting.
How about a $95 sweater or a $40 poster?
This is what I've been waiting for all year.
Up to 500,000 visitors are pouring in too, from places like North Carolina.
So you're here for, what, a week, a few days?
Yeah, a week. Like 10 days.
And Ohio.
What does it mean to you to finally see the Eras Tour?
Oh my gosh, I mean, I've waited this for so long.
The concert series is expected to inject nearly $300 million into Toronto's economy because research shows those traveling Swifties are big spenders.
A new report says while the average concert goer spends the equivalent of $300 US on food, transportation, and accommodations, Swifties shell out up to $1,500 per show.
This is quite remarkable compared to any other concert we've ever seen before.
Toronto hotels are booked up and getting decked out. Here, Swifties will recognize those lyrics on the wall and the song titles on the drink menu. Like this, the Shake It Off margarita.
This is such an exciting moment for Toronto hospitality to really shine, and it's something that we've, been anticipating for quite some time. So it's kind of hard to believe it's here now.
Even the trucks filled with concert gear fit the theme. Red, of course. The Eras Tour is moving in, and this city is cashing in. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Inside the bust of an elaborate drug super lab in British Columbia, why investigators are so concerned.
That's a very scientific type of equipment typically we don't see in a drug lab.
But first, in the shadow of a diplomatic fallout between Canada and India, why a Canadian border worker fears for his life.
I've protected our country for 20 years, and I need our country to protect me.
Why he's being targeted from India. Evan Dyer spoke to him about the threats and what he's doing to keep his family safe.
Sonny Sidhu has worked in Canada's Border Services Agency for 2 decades. Here he appears on the global TV show Border Security. Since that show was recorded, he's been promoted to the rank of superintendent. It was a YouTube video posted a year ago and since removed that first alerted him to danger.
Now we've got you in our sights. I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English.
Major Gaurav Arya, a pro-Modi influencer with ties to Indian intelligence agencies,
Canadian terrorists,
included Sonny Sidhu in a list of wanted Khalistani terrorists.
Canada has become a safe haven for Khalistani terrorists. Not only are the Khalistanis being given a free run and platform, they're also employed by the Canadian government. Can you believe that?
It was the start of a campaign accusing Sonny Sidhu of terrorism and murder across Indian television, newspapers, and social media, including his family's address and violent threats.
I have zero links to any of these organizations. I've never supported these organizations. I don't know any members in these organizations. So they're pulling these allegations out of thin air.
Sidhu had every reason to worry. Another man named in one of Major Arya's videos was shot dead in Winnipeg the next day.
Sukhdev Singh.
That man did have links to Punjabi gangs. Sidhu believes he's being targeted because he, as well as his brothers, are Canadian public servants.
If I was Sonny, the blueberry farmer, we wouldn't be sitting here. I've protected our country for 20 years, and I need our country to protect me. I've been told you cannot be picking up your daughter at school. I have to change vehicles. I've had to relocate my family to a different residence.
Sidhu told CBSA as soon as he learned about the video.
They've gone through my bank statements, my telephone records. I was subject to 2 days of polygraph examinations.
CBSA says it found no evidence to support the allegations made in the articles against our employee, Mr. Sidhu. Sidhu's lawyers say the accusation is part of a campaign of violence and disinformation on Canadian soil.
There is an orchestrated campaign by a foreign entity that has nefarious purposes. They have accused him of something that is just patently not true.
Sidhu has spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to protect his family. This former CSIS director says the Canadian government has a responsibility.
He is being subjected to all of this because he's a Crown servant, largely, I think. So yeah, there is a duty, I think, of care and concern. And I can't see any reasons why, with the vast resources of the government of Canada, they couldn't have put him in a better position.
Sonny Sidhu is in the clear with the government of Canada, but that doesn't mean that he's out of danger from the government of India. And his lawyers are now in talks with the federal government to see if they can do more for him, including perhaps giving some protection to him and his family.
So, Evan, can you walk us through why India would want to accuse someone like Sonny Sidhu?
Well, the crux of India's complaint against Canada is that this is a permissive environment for India's enemies. And since this dispute began last year, the Indian government has been attacking the Trudeau government, accusing it of deliberately coddling Khalistanis in order to create what they call a vote bank to help it win elections. The claim that Canada would allow a Khalistani to work in a sensitive national security job fits into that narrative, of course. And so it's an allegation not only against Sonny Sidhu, but it's also an allegation against Canada.
All right, thank you. That's Evan Dyer in Ottawa tonight.
Thanks.
Donald Trump's election win is being felt in the Middle East, especially in the occupied West Bank. An Israeli cabinet minister has floated the idea of an outright annexation of its settlements. And Trump's nominee as ambassador to Israel is pro-settlements. Margaret Evans saw the existing tensions there firsthand and up close. Here's a preview of a story she's been working on.
Give me passport, please.
I'd really like to see your ID saying you're a soldier.
This is not the law in Israel. Give me passport.
These are the foot soldiers of Israel's settlement enterprise in the occupied West Bank at work.
You know everything here. Give me, please.
Do not touch me.
Hey! They're now actually putting handcuffs on him.
Their tactics are increasingly hard line, say the Palestinians enduring them.
I want to keep my eye on him.
You can watch Margaret's full story Wednesday right here on The National. Up next, in the BC countryside, an illegal drug operation of staggering proportions.
It is extremely sophisticated, highly sophisticated.
Inside a drug super lab and the clues about who could have been running it. Canada's largest synthetic drug lab, the bust, the mass production, the sprawling setup.
This brought the level of sophistication of this operation to an unprecedented level.
The domestic production of illicit drugs destined for Canadian cities and international ports. Andrew Chang, host of About That, breaks it all down and shows why investigators were shocked at what they found.
Imagine you live in this tiny rural town of about 1,000 people, about an hour outside of Kamloops, BC. One day, you wake up and there are hundreds of police officers swarming a rural property down your street. That property, you find out, is what police call the biggest, most sophisticated drug lab in Canadian history.
Like something out of Breaking Bad. It's just incredible. It's overwhelming.
People were just really stunned.
The RCMP calls this a super lab, producing an unprecedented amount of illicit drugs. In total, they recovered almost 400 kilos of meth, 54 kilos of fentanyl, that's tens of millions of doses, plus smaller amounts of MDMA and cocaine. And that's just the stuff that was ready, waiting to be shipped out. Investigators say this lab had enough source material on hand to potentially triple that output.
These enforcement actions have undoubtedly saved thousands of lives in Canada. It has also served to deny this transnational organized crime group an estimated $485 million in profits.
And this wasn't just about drugs. 400 kilometers away in Surrey, BC, they also say they recovered 46 handguns, 21 AR-15 style rifles, 14 submachine guns, at least 2 50 caliber rifles capable of shooting through concrete walls, explosives, body armor, and $500,000 in cash.
When they laid them out, it did look like, enough firepower to arm a sizable militia, honestly.
But even all this risks missing the bigger picture, because what also shocked investigators was just how elaborate the whole operation was, what it tells them about who might have been involved and how far-reaching this network might just be. Let's go through it. There was one word the RCMP kept using over and over to describe this lab.
It is extremely sophisticated, highly sophisticated.
So what do they mean by that? Well, here's a look at one of the rooms inside, courtesy of the RCMP. We spoke to the head of the team investigating this super lab, and we reached out to 2 chemists with expertise in illicit drug manufacturing to try and break down what exactly was going on here and what makes this lab so sophisticated.
This one certainly had the equipment, certainly had the chemicals on hand and the precursors to continue a high level of production.
Let's start with equipment. Those big green jugs in the back probably caught your eye first. According to the RCMP, they're a type of chemical reactor, literally where ingredients are added and drugs are synthesized.
So we call them jacketed reactors, meaning that they're sort of like a double wall. Outside that green, that's kind of like a coolant system that keeps the reaction controlled in temperature.
Controlled, by the way, so that it doesn't explode. These are volatile compounds. And this is specialty equipment that you don't just walk into a hardware store and buy. The chemists we spoke to figure per machine, the cost could be up to $100,000.
They are often made especially for the drug producers because they are very large size and they're sort of made to specification, if you like. And so it's a huge amount of investment, huge amount of money.
Then there's this. Not something police believe is used at all in the mass manufacture of illicit drugs. It looks more like an experimental setup, something you'd see in an R&D lab.
Is that piece of equipment there that really gleaned my attention? It's interesting because that's a very scientific type of equipment typically we don't see in a drug lab.
In fact, police in BC tell us they've never seen this in a meth or fentanyl lab before. One possibility they're considering is that criminals were using it to experiment, to come up with new, perhaps more potent types of fentanyl. Health Canada is even taking samples to confirm if that is the case.
And if it does, it potentially gets us, an advance notice of maybe a future trend of drug production or a different method of drug production that we haven't seen here before.
Here's another view of the lab from the RCMP, a different room. And this is a chemical minefield. These barrels, they should be chained to the wall so that they don't fall over. According to our experts, they're likely some kind of highly toxic, highly flammable solvent. And these white bags, most likely drug-making ingredients so corrosive, you'd get a chemical burn just by touching it. But consider one other thing. What experts say is the most foundational ingredient, the one you can't make a drug without, and what's called a precursor.
So a precursor is basically sort of like a building block of the molecule, of the final molecule. So a lot of the precursors are now starting to make it on the controlled substance lists in various countries. But it's still these cooks. When they want to cook something, they still find a way.
The RCMP says they found a significant volume of these precursor chemicals at this lab. About 5,000 liters of liquid precursor and 10 tons of powder. Enough to continue to churn out meth and fentanyl for weeks, if not months, without having to restock.
It's not just an average citizen that can wake up tomorrow and decide to import quantities of precursors.
I was surprised to see how much they had and how readily available they were able to access it.
But it wasn't just the existence or amount of precursor chemicals that startled the RCMP. It looks like they were actually making their own, which is a whole other level of expertise.
And of a particular concern is the discovery of several tons of unregulated chemicals believed to be used to produce P2P.
P2P is one of those precursors we talked about. It's one of the base ingredients used to make meth. It is a heavily controlled substance, and because of that, it's hard to find. It's also hard to make. So finding evidence that this group was manufacturing P2P from scratch, that's like the RCMP cracking an art heist and finding the Mona Lisa.
You do need to have people who have some chemical knowledge, especially when producing large quantities of chemicals. So you might have what's called a chemical engineer who's been working in industry and he knows what it involves. It could be a very well organized situation.
As most people know from a TV series or Breaking Bad, that was their method.
If you're a Breaking Bad fan, you might remember Walt starts out his meth-making career by using pseudoephedrine as a precursor. That's in sinus medicine. This has been the most common route in North America over the past few decades. But a few seasons in, Walt links up with Gus, who connects him with a P2P dealer. And it's P2P that lets him suddenly create a much purer product with much better margins. And I promise I'm going somewhere with this because eventually him and Jesse link up with the Mexican cartel and find out that they actually make their own P2P.
They synthesize their own.
What? The P2P manufacturing method has been the primary method used by Mexican cartels to produce methamphetamine for years. This brought the level of sophistication of this operation to an unprecedented level, certainly in Western Canada, if not the entire country.
If we go back inside the BC Super Lab, the chemists we spoke to suspect That's what may have been going on inside this room here. You can see the network of metal ducting they installed, which looks like it's meant to channel fumes outside. Making P2P can create some seriously toxic gases. Again, probably not something a low-level Canadian gang would try and attempt.
And so what that suggests and what the RCMP is saying is that, this is a multi-international cross-border operation with fingers into all sorts of places.
So the RCMP brought up that suspected connection to the Mexican cartel. They wouldn't go into much more detail about who else might be involved. So we asked someone who used to run the RCMP's transnational organized crime unit what he thought.
I think they've got to have significant contacts in different parts of the world. I'd be looking at the cartel networks, the Chinese networks, the Iranian networks, but whoever it is, looking at the quantity, that's a corporation, that's not gangs.
We're hearing more and more people who follow gangs and report on gangs, at least here in BC, that there are these international connections, that the old narrative of these international drug gangs fighting each other is that it's old. More and more they are cooperating.
The RCMP was also clear that these drugs, for the most part, were headed for other countries.
They were destined for abroad, and I can't elaborate quite yet because it's an ongoing investigation, but they were destined for a market abroad.
If the cartels want to expand and operate to the new markets in the Asian Pacific area, Vancouver has the logistical infrastructure, i.e. ports, to access this new market, that they haven't really tapped into in the last several decades, i.e. Asian Pacific, 3 billion people.
Asia Pacific meaning countries like China, Japan, India, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, all of that to say, Adrian, everyone we spoke to believes the scale of this operation is immense and something that should give people pause, especially considering only one person has been arrested so far.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Next, a group comes together for a common cause.
It started to baw at me frantically, like it wanted to be saved.
A rocky mission to save a goat in our moment. So who are these people, you might ask? Well, you're looking at a group of hikers posing together in front of a mountain in Hawaii with a new friend in hand, a baby goat. So not all these people knew each other, but when news broke in Hawaii that the goat was stranded high on a cliff, they took matters into their own hands. And tonight, their call to action makes our moment.
I have several friends who have sent me the news story from Hawaii News showing that a baby goat is stranded on the mountain. Supposedly they were reporting on it almost every day, just updating people. So I drove out and sure enough, you couldn't miss it because it's a little white baby goat on a black cliff face and you could see it struggling and trying to move around.
You cannot climb that, it's really crumbly.
There was a woman who was organizing a rescue from the other side of the island.
Man, it looks raggedy, huh? Ma!
So I replied to her, I said, I'm looking at it right now, DM me. It started to baw at me frantically, like it wanted to be saved.
It's had a rough couple days, huh?
Caleb flew his drone up next to it to kind of scare it and pin it in place. This is such an easy rescue, actually. Govinda's husband, I think, went and grabbed it, and from there it was just hiking down. It was like, this is the adventure I didn't know I needed today. These are strangers that I just met. It's kind of unusual to have a white goat out here. They're mostly black and brown. So yeah, this goat's special.
And the goat's okay. An animal sanctuary took the goat in, and a woman who works there has now adopted it. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrian Arsenault. Take care.